There have been some awful right-wingers recently who have tried to make a name for themselves exclusively by being the absolute worst. Marjorie Greene pops up on your radar for that reason pretty much every week. Paul Gosar this month made a very strong play for worst guy in the country. Lauren Boebert is not going to be left behind when it comes to being awful. She wants to be King Clown. And so she had this event, some people were hanging out with her, and she just went on a tear saying the worst things that she could come up with. So we're going to show a few of those to you. We're going to be starting off, though, with her most recent Islamophobic comments. So for the first time of many on this show, I'm going to be whipping you around. So just hold.
Actually, I have an Ilhan story for you. So, the other night on the House floor was not my first jihad squad moment. So I was getting into an elevator with one of my staffers, and he and I we're leaving the Capitol, we're going back to my office, and we get in the elevator, and I see a Capitol police officer running hurriedly to the elevator. I see fret all over his face, and he's reaching, and I'm like, what? I can't, the door's shutting, like I can't open it, like what's happening? I look to my left, and there she is, Ilhan Omar. Whoops. And I said, well, she doesn't have a backpack. We should be fine. So we only had one floor to go, and I was like, should I say it or not? I looked over, and I said, oh, look, the jihad squad decided to show up for work today. Don't worry, it's just her staffers on Twitter that talk for her. She's not tough in person. She doesn't, yes. So there's a little bit of interactions with these folks.
Let's evaluate a few things that happened there. One, she starts off that whole thing by saying, this wasn't my first jihad squad thing, but that all you mean by that is that you've supposedly done Islamophobic things in the past? Well, that's awesome. That's great. I thought you were newly Islamophobic. Oh, okay, so you've had a problem with them and you've tried to get people to support you in the absence of any sort of platform or strong positions or knowledge of the issues by regularly saying Islamophobic things. I see. Okay. So then this thing happened in the elevator. Now, we're going to flash out. I'm going to give you a spoiler. Ilhan Omar says that none of this actually happened. And we get to evaluate whether we think Lauren Boebert is being honest or Ilhan Omar is being honest. So the base of this story is that Lauren Boebert got onto an elevator with someone, and it was Ilhan Omar, and she had no idea for the first 30 seconds who she'd gotten on the elevator with. Do we believe that that is true? Do we believe that, despite all of the back and forths they've had, she didn't recognize Ilhan Omar, she didn't know that it was... That's so stupid, so juvenile. And the entire purpose, of course, is the story is, oh, Ilhan Omar, she's Muslim, so she's always at risk of potentially blowing something up. She's a terrorist, okay? Stereotypes are fun. She got on an elevator with someone who is Muslim, so she makes a joke about them blowing up something. Okay. In the same way, I'm sure, because she likes comedy and she doesn't believe that we should be snowflakes, if you got in the elevator with her and she's presumably Christian, you could say, oh God, I was worried that you were going to like rape a choir boy. I thought you were going to, because you're Christian, and it's fun to make stereotypical jokes about religions. It's not just about Muslims, it's everybody. We do this for everybody, but of course we don't. So, and then we'll get to the last little bit right there as well. But I want to give Ilhan Omar a chance to respond to this apparently totally made up story that Ilhan Omar said at this gathering for, and let's be clear, just clout. That's it. She has to go before a crowd. And if you do that, have you ever spoken in public? You would ideally like them to cheer for you, to clap, to maybe laugh. So you have to give them something. What does Lauren Boebert believe she has to give? Now, absent this video, forget this video, I could have speculated about what she had to give, but she's showing us what she thinks she has to give, and what she thinks she has to give is Islamophobic jokes. That's it. That's it. Now, Ilhan Omar says, fact, this buffoon looks down when she sees me at the Capitol. This whole story is made up. Sad she thinks bigotry gets her clout. Anti-Muslim bigotry isn't funny and shouldn't be normalized. Congress can't be a place where hateful and dangerous Muslim tropes get no condemnation. It usually is. It regularly is. I mean, we haven't had it to test it very often as a society because we generally have only elected Christians for the most part, our entire history. But anyway, she goes on to say, because this isn't the first time that she's been the target of Islamophobic comments like this. First day of Congress, this member who said to Steve knew nothing about me beside the fact that I was Muslim and that somehow made me a terrorist to him. She's referencing the fact that Steve King back in the day had tweeted, Pelosi changed House rules for Ilhan Omar to allow her to wear her turban on the floor. First day, a member said to me, 4 pounds of C4 under that would wipe out half of Congress. Again, it's funny. It's funny because she's a Muslim, so she wants to kill Congress. That's the joke. Now, there's a few things that potentially make it a little bit less funny, and a little bit hypocritical too. Is Ilhan Omar one of the Congress people that is constantly fighting to bring guns on the House floor, thinks that you need to be armed, you have to have a weapon? They joke about her smuggling a weapon in there. They are actively trying to bring a weapon in. Oh, and by the way, in recent history, when people tried to get into Congress and kill people, kill our elected representatives, was it Ilhan Omar? Was there a single Muslim in the group? Who was trying to wipe out half of Congress? It was not Ilhan Omar. It was not a Democrat. But to him, it's funny. And again, it's probably made up too. Did a member say that to him? I don't know. Was it Lauren Boebert? I don't know. But he knew that he could make that joke on Twitter and that would get him some retweets. Some conservatives would be into him. In the same way that Lauren Boebert is not going to come with the Green New Deal. She's not going to come with a public housing plan. She's not going to help you with your mortgage or your student loan debt. She doesn't care about that. She also doesn't know about that. But even if she did know the details, she wouldn't care to do anything about it. What she does know is that many people in the Republican base are as simple-minded as she is. It's a variation of what we've always had. Republicans for a long time have generally been, Ivy League lawyers and all that stuff, who then do all of this stuff for, in their view, the Republican simpletons, okay? In this case, they've sort of cut out the middleman. They're just electing the Republican simpletons. When you get Matt Gaetz and her and, Marjorie Greene, they're not sending their best. And she understands that that's what they want. If she can just deliver some fun conspiracy theories and a little bit of Islamophobia, and as we'll get to, some homophobia as well, then that's all you need. Why the hell are you going to spend months consulting with policy experts, putting together bills, trying to get them passed? Why would you do any of that when you can just make a comment about how Ilhan Omar must be some sort of terrorist? Well, we have a few developments on this. I want to give you a little bit more from Ilhan Omar. She said, saying I'm a suicide bomber is no laughing matter. GOP leader and Speaker Pelosi need to take appropriate action. Normalizing this bigotry not only endangers my life, but the lives of all Muslims. Anti-Muslim bigotry has no place in Congress. Now, there's two surprises about this, actually. The first surprise is that the Democratic leadership is actually doing something. They actually seem to care about this. And I honestly think it's because we're so fresh off of the Gosar thing. It would be weird for them to attack Gosar and then totally give a pass to Boebert here. But that's my speculation. What I do know is the House Democratic leadership put out a statement, including this, saying, racism and bigotry in any form, including Islamophobia, must always be called out, confronted, and condemned in any place it is found. Congresswoman Boebert's repeated, ongoing, and targeted Islamophobic comments and actions against another member of Congress, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, are both deeply offensive and concerning. We call upon Congresswoman Boebert to fully retract these comments and refrain from making similar ones going forward. Well, there are two requests there. One is to retract, two is to not do it. We will have to see about the second, but the second shock is that she sort of gave them the first. Now, who apologizes on the right, honestly? Marjorie Greene sort of apologized a little bit specifically for the Holocaust comparisons on the anti-vax stuff. That's it. Not the rest of the stuff. She didn't apologize for I think Nancy Pelosi should be shot in the head, the Jewish space lasers, or, I think Q has a couple of good points and he's just a good American. She didn't apologize for any of that. She apologized for the Holocaust thing, a little bit. Now, Representative Lauren Boebert, 3 days ago, posted this tweet saying, I apologize to anyone in the Muslim community I offended with my comment about Representative Omar. I have reached out to her office to speak with her directly. There are plenty of policy differences to focus on without this unnecessary distraction. Now, that apology, I'm going to rank as dog stuff, okay? For a few different reasons. Now, first of all, it happened. She apologized. So, how much credit do we give her? She technically apologized. They don't generally do that for a few different reasons. It's not in them. They're not, compassionate people. And they're giving their audience what they want. She didn't accidentally say it. But I apologize to anyone I offended with my comment about Representative Omar. It's not the worst formulation of that. They sometimes say, if I offended anyone, as if they don't know. In this case, I would say, what I said was deeply offensive. That is an honest thing to say. We don't get full honesty from her, but it's not the worst version. There are plenty of policy differences to focus on without this unnecessary distraction. That is also dog stuff, because that is saying the fact that we're talking about this is a distraction. What are you talking about? You brought it up. You made those comments. And I really doubt she's some sort of extemporaneous speaker. I think that she had scripted it. I don't know for sure. But this is not a distraction. This is what she wanted to talk about. And plenty of policy differences. When the hell have you ever talked about a policy difference? In any event, she sort of apologized. Now we're going to have to see what effect that has on what happens. It has already had a couple of little ripples. So let's jump into those. According to Political Playbook, some Democrats, particularly allies of Omar, don't see Boebert's apology as authentic. Well, do you think? Omar's office would not say whether she will take Boebert up on her offer to meet. Why would she? No, honestly, why would she? Do you think that it would change Boebert's behavior going forward? I don't know, maybe you do. Maybe we can have a poll. But other Democrats privately worry that if they punish a lawmaker who admits a mistake and tries to make amends, they'll be setting themselves up for similar treatment or worse under a future GOP majority. The situation highlights the slippery slope Democrats created when they removed MTG from her committees over comments she made before entering Congress. Where do Democrats draw the line? If Democrats don't lower the boom on Boebert, what message would it send to the Muslim community? But if they do, what message does that send to those who apologize for saying something wrong? Okay, I normally hate every single word of Political Playbook. In this case, I only hate most. The fact that she apologized does make this a more interesting case. So get ready to evaluate what I'm about to say. You can type it in, and we'll see. I think that in this case, don't punish her. What do you think? What do you think it might take? Can I explain why? Okay, so, and by the way, when I say don't punish her, I am not saying I buy her apology. I think that she's actually sorry or anything like that. I don't. But I do want them to be able to back off. Now look, if she jumps immediately back into it, then of course we're having a different conversation, I think. But if they still censure her in the exact same way, then will they ever apologize again? Will they? Now, notice, she apologized. Why did she apologize? Okay, let's think about that. I think she apologized because there was a little bit of an uproar and there was a precedent of punishment, which means that if you believe what I'm saying, that the punishment is actually having an effect. It didn't stop her from saying it, but it's perhaps making them a little bit cautious. I think if you still punish her, as abhorrent as what she said was, they'll never back off again. They probably won't anyway. Let's be clear. The future is dark no matter what road we go down, but I think that the best chance is backing off. Now, she will say these things again, and then, lower the boom on her or whatever. But, we need to understand that the countervailing force of the effect that the punishment has had is from the other side. Marjorie Greene tweeted, Democrats want us censored, shut down, and imprisoned. Never apologize to Islamic terrorist sympathizers, communists, or those who fund murder with our tax dollars. Ilhan and the Jihad Squad are all three and are undeserving of an apology. So she's awful. And the fact that she's going even farther than Boebert, I think buttresses the punishment that she already experienced. I think that backing off a little bit on Boebert until she does it again, and then having Marjorie come out hard in favor of these Islamophobic attacks, I think that kind of helps us to the extent that anything can, to the extent that anything actually gets out there and gets to people. Now, at the end of the day, that's just my opinion, and my opinion, I would say, doesn't matter. What does Ilhan Omar think? What do American Muslims think? I think that those are very interesting points, and in that case, we will have to see.